for my 3ds Max architectural, advanced architectural, advanced 3ds Max architectural visualization course, which was CAD 221. The standard competencies, looks like I have completed for the advanced textures, advanced model creation, advanced model editing, the site elements, mental ray, lighting and materials because it's no longer relevant, and advanced rendering I covered in the previous video where I'm explaining about it. The one that was partially covered was the architectural workflow because it was AutoCAD line work that I had imported in. However, for this video I'm going to import line work, well, not line work, but an actual model from Revit. I did this model for my 2018 spring class for Revit for my final project. And I'm using this model because I don't want to have any copyright infringements or anything like that on the stream or in any real world thing. So I'm using my own personal project. It's a house that I designed that my parents have. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get right on into it. This was the house in Revit. This is the version, so I have all the different modeling elements. I actually already tried importing this into 3ds Max and was successful, so I figured I'd just go ahead and start it over, and that way I can show what some of these things look like. In this program, you use Shift to rotate your views around. So this was the final project that I had done, like I said, for the CAD 224 class last semester, well, 2 semesters ago, I guess, if you did summer school. So I'm going to get right on into it. First thing I have to do is I go to File, and this is after I've gone from my floor plan view, and I've clicked the 3D, default 3D view. It brings me into this view so that I can view it in a fully rendered 3D model. I had added textures and other colorings in Revit. Some of those, actually none of those, transferred over into 3ds Max, which is fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. So the first thing you do is you go to Export, and then you click FBX. And I already have it saved, so I'm not going to save it again. But I renamed the project to Fish Creek, and I went to FBX files. You want to know the FBX files, not the 2015 and previous, because we're no longer using 2015 and previous, we're using 2018. So then I went ahead and saved it into this file right here. You click Save, and it saves in about, I'd say 15 seconds or so. And I'm going to go ahead and close that down so it's not using my system resources. So I opened up 3ds Max. I went to the Customize Unit Setup, which is the first thing you want to check. And I made sure that I had feet with decimal inches. And I went to Unit Setup, made sure that my unit was 1 unit equals 1 inch. And I wanted to make sure that everything, when I do that, transfers over without any hitches or complications. So the next thing I do is File, I go to Import, click Import. I already have it set up into that folder because, like I said, I just finished doing this a minute ago. I'm going to click this FBX one. You can also select from the list down here. If you want to make sure, you can click FBX to make sure you get in the correct one. So then you take that file, you click Open, and this window will come up. It says it's user defined. You actually want to either set it to the architectural Revit or the media and entertainment. I prefer the media and entertainment, so I'll set it to that preset. You want to check your geometry here. You can either smooth the groups or not smooth the groups. The animation, I don't want to bring in because I don't want to have my previous animation or my camera that I had previously set up in Revit, because that was for that specific project, and this is for a different project entirely. My lights, I do want to bring my lights in. I don't want to bring in the sun and sky because I don't believe I set that up in the previous thing. I might have for sun reflections, but I think it was just to show in the 3D views. And then the audio, of course, I don't have any audio from that file. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that these things are checked or unchecked according to how I want it. And I do want the lights, and I do want the global ambient color to be transferred in. And I want to make sure that it's going to work properly. In my advanced options, I want to check the units. The units, it says it's automatic and it's converted to inches. I already have it set up as inches in this program, so it should transfer without a hitch. The UI, you want to make sure you have your warning manager showing and the generate log data. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. It's going to take a moment to process. Hopefully it won't freeze up because Max has been doing that lately. And then my model shows up in 3ds Max. This shows my lights, some of my lights anyway. And if I rotate around my model, I can see that my model has transferred in. I have each of the lights that I have set up previously and throughout the entire house. So if I go into here, I can select my roof. I can tell it to hide the selection. I had 2 sub roofs in Revit because I was doing 2 different color paneling. Basically, I had an outer roof that had one type of shader for the actual roof color, and then I had an inner roof, which was for my panels that, because this house doesn't have insulation, it's just cedar planking and then a roof on top of it. And in Revit, you don't have the option of doing a UV mapping type of thing with the different pixels or whatnot, so I had 2 different objects. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this selection, and that way you can see what the inside of the house looks like. I do have several lights set up with the different lighting patterns. Each thing did transfer in as an individual object, which is actually exactly what I needed. So I can select the different cedar boards that are darker color and whatnot. And then I also have all the different furniture, which is individually selectable per floor, which is spectacular as well. So I have the sinks and the toilets and all that, so I can color them with multicolor objects and do that. Now on the front here, in Revit, it has a problem with being able to develop geometry for walls here. So actually I need to add 2 windows, another corner slide window and a corner slide window here. And I need to have this middle window actually extend up to the top. So that's going to be what I'm going to attempt to do for the project for this one. And if I'm able to do that, I'm not ultimately able to do that. I know I can cut the 2 windows on the sides, but adjusting this, I don't know how well it'll do when I convert it to an edit poly, since this entire thing is the wall, and this is the window, and the window actually has a frame attached with it, which may or may not be good, since it's the first time I'm transferring it. So I'm going to go ahead and explore that a little bit, and I'll bring the video back once I've figured out exactly how I'm going to do it. So for this particular advanced architecture thing, I've transferred the model in, and I'm going to be editing the actual model to add those 3 additional windows, as was covered in the beginning of that other thing. I've already done furniture, so the other thing I might do is change this couch out for the model that I made previously, but it may or may not work because I'm not sure what the size of this one is. It looks like it's saying, oh no, that's my cursor, never mind. Let's find out. It's a 7-foot by 4-foot couch that may or may not work with the other couch I made. I think we made an 8-foot couch in the other one. Either way, I'll see about maybe transferring that couch that I made as another part of it. And then when I add the character in, the character will hopefully walk these walls and maybe go up those stairs. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. So I'm going to go ahead and file, save as, make this into a new thing. So the Revit Max. I'm actually going to start a new folder, and the folder for this one is going to be called just straight CAD 221. And so in reference, this one will be called house.max, and that'll be the first one. And I'll go ahead and get started and see if I can work on these things. And the other thing I'm going to do is apply textures to hopefully everything that I can see in here, depending on how much time I have for this project. I am on a time constraint. I only have another 4 weeks to complete both projects for both classes. And considering this one was just needing to show for the competency having a dynamic workflow between Revit and 3ds Max, I've imported in the model, and now I'm going to edit it, and then I'm going to modify some materials and textures, if not all of them. And I will get back to you.